Hi everybody, welcome to Sunday night.
People believe that the paranormal and science are separate. But what they don't know, that they are both joined together as one. Join Ben and Louisa on their quest as they bring together science, occult, and the paranormal. Only on Occult, History, and Science with Ben and Lou.
Hello! Hi everyone. Oh, my voice is gone now. Good start. Hi everybody, we've got a little bit of a change to Sunday night show. We've got our special guest, as you can see. She is there ready and waiting. Mandy, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Ben is here.
I am here. Hello. I'm just doing my usual techie stuff behind stage.
Yeah, he's doing the bit that I usually do. I usually do all the sharing out and whatnot. And he usually does the intro. But this time he's having a go. We've already got a couple of people in the chat. We've got Kate, hi, and we've got Bill. Nice of you both to join us, and hello to everybody else who is joining in. So, shall we crack straight on?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, so instead of me saying who you are, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Mandy West, and I am the haunted historian. I research historical facts about apparent paranormal sites. I use various forms of archive and historical reference to get a background story and possibly try and legitimise claims of apparent hauntings on these sites and relate them to an actual event that happened at some point in history. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, it's interesting. Ben?
I am doing it.
Ben's being a little go slow. But no, it's what we like, because I saw you popped your new page up, The Haunted Historian. And yeah, because obviously a lot of people, they go out investigating, they get events through, names through, maybe dates through, but trying to validate it, that's kind of like the next step as well, isn't it? Just to check what you've actually come through, like either through sensors or devices, actually events that have happened.
Yeah, that's exactly why I started it, because in addition to the haunted historian, I also run with my colleague patients a paranormal investigative team, PMV, and we took on the site of Bewdley Museum, and we'd been there as sort of participants previously, and then we got offered the job, so we took it. And obviously, because we've been there a couple of times as attendees and then as running it, as everyone knows, when you run or go to a paranormal event, you invariably get names called out, sort of different accounts and experiences that have happened there. And I basically wanted to try and find out if what we were getting had got any basis in history, especially with the museum at Bewdley. It's a very old site. The site itself had been many things before it became the museum. I mean, it's been a morgue, fire station, police station, prison cell, brass foundry, lots to it. But it was when we were in the brass foundry, we were getting a lot of names through and a lot of accounts. And I wanted to find out whether it was valid. And after we'd done our first invest, obviously you come away with a list of names and details, and that was when I sort of started to try and research it. And before I knew it, we were getting names of people who had lived there, had worked there, had died there. Yeah, it was phenomenal. It validates what you do, and it validates what you get. It makes you feel like you are actually quite good at what you do. Yeah. It was brilliant when we found that out.
Wow, I never knew there was so much behind like Bewdley Museum, to be fair.
Yeah, it is an amazing site.
Wow. So
the town as a whole, really.
I apologise, I'm not being rude.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Bewdley itself is a phenomenal Georgian town, and I mean, after doing a year of the invests, they offered us the ghost walk. So obviously that meant that I could do even more research. And if you've ever been to Bewdley, it always reminds me of a little seaside town, but there's quite a dark history to it. And as you're walking down the streets, you don't know whose footsteps you're actually following in, and the little customs that they had, and the crime and punishment. You know, it just puts a new spin on the whole place. That's what I enjoy about it. Yeah.
Oh. So what do you feel came first for you on your journey? Was it the paranormal, or is it like history?
I would have to say, in a roundabout way, it would be the history side of it. I have always had an interest in the paranormal since I was very young. I was, I suppose, quite a morbid child, because I remember getting told off by my dad that whilst we were at the beach, I was digging graves whilst other people were building sandcastles.
Nice.
But the history side for me, well, I wouldn't even say it's history. I think it's more, when I was studying for my degree, I did theology. We covered African theology.
Yes.
And the idea there is that there are two forms of death. There's the physical death, and then there's the death where people stop saying your name and you are forgotten. You know, as the generations continue, your name becomes less and less relevant and you're less spoken about. And that really, really got to me. It's a case of, we should remember the people who went before us and made choices and decisions and sacrifices that got us to where we are. And I think I kind of apply that to the sites that we're at, because it's not just the big names that have got sort of like a history that you expect to have. It's the lesser people, the maids, the servants, the brass foundry workers. They've all got their own stories, and it's those that I want to find out, really, because in some small way they have affected our lives, you know. So it's like with down Dow's graveyard, which I was talking to you about before we came on site. That has got a history of, basically at Bewdley Bridge, single mothers or women who were pregnant and had children and they couldn't support them, didn't want to support them. They would throw them into the river from the bridge. And so you've got this vision of newborn babies or young babies sort of floating down the river. But then at Dow's, there would be a monk, or sorry, a hermit, and he would rescue them. And you would think that these children shouldn't have existed without him. So how many lives have changed? How many lives have come about simply because they were rescued? And it's just, it's phenomenal. It really is. Yeah.
There's a good book series you might like, that's sort of like that. Talking about, obviously, the little, as it weirdly sounds, forget the little people that are involved in big situations. It's called Forgotten Voices.
Okay, yeah.
And they do World War One and they do World War Two, and they take accounts from general people that served and lived through the war. There's only little snippet bits. You can read it over your own course of time, but it's a book series you might actually like.
I think, I mean, to be fair, that would definitely be of interest, because I mean, I was very close to my great grandfather, and he fought in the First World War, and he was one of three that came back from his regiment, and you know, he would sit there and he'd got a lump in his arm, and it was only when I was older that I realised that was a bullet that was left over from when he was injured. And you know, these men came back from the war and were expected to live normal lives, have families, you know, run businesses and forget it all. But somewhere their stories do need to be told. I mean, people weren't encouraged to talk about things back then, were they? There was no form of therapy or counselling. It was just a case of, you know, get on with it. So I'd really enjoy reading that, just to hear, you know, their side of it, the stories that don't get told to family. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Thank you.
For everyone else, I will put Whoa. We had a bit of a flick of power then. Yeah, I will put the link up for everyone else. It's done by the War Museum, and they are good reads.
Okay.
That tonight, guys, is my random fact for the show.
Thank you.
So would you say you've got a favorite period of history or a favorite time period that you enjoy looking into?
I really enjoy medieval history. It's something that I'm relatively new to, but the reason I'm interested, why? What's the matter?
We're reenactors.
really? Oh, I did not know that. Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, the reason I'm interested in it is to do with like the craft side of it. You know, witchcraft. I grow a medieval herb garden, so I like to
Wow.
try and, you know, the medicinal, the kitchen herbs and things like that. And it's the fact that these herbs were used to help and heal, and then turned into something negative when these wise men and women and cunning folk were seen in a negative sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's the medieval time that I really enjoy. Absolutely, yeah. There's so many
Yeah.
different levels to it, and the plague as well. I do love a good plague story.
Like a plague story. Have you been up
Yeah.
to Eam?
No, I haven't. No, that's somewhere that I do want to go. Sorry about the cat, by the way. No,
Good
somewhere that I do want to go, but that was a place that basically applied rules that we used in COVID, really, isn't it? Where they shut it
Yeah.
down and isolated, and yeah, I know a little bit about it, but it's not somewhere that I've been, but I would love to go because I bet the energy there is amazing, if nothing else.
It's a fascinating place to walk around,
We
isn't
could
it?
we could arrange it for you.
Yeah, we'll
'cause
have to
we're not-
meet up and go
Really?
up there because
Yeah.
it's not far from us.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
Take
be
you there.
bloody perfect. Thank you. Oh, I would love that. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh,
Have a road
yeah, I was
trip.
gonna say, we'll have a look through some
Yeah,
comments
we're gonna
because
catch up.
we've got a load of people joined in. So hello to everybody. I'm not going to go through everyone's names that's joined on, but welcome. Thank you for joining. So we've got Wild Bill with his comment, morbid over here. We call it goth.
Big shout out to Wild Bill in America. I don't know why I've just taken my glasses off because I can't see.
I'll take them off. I cannot see, so I shall put them back on.
Yes.
Yeah, makes
Makes
you look
sense.
intellectual.
Shout out to Wednesbury as well. Paranormal Paths are on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Everybody.
Sierra. Oh, she's got a question. Would love to know some of your medieval recipes.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's more some of the herbs that I grow. You have to be very careful with, and it's sort of like if you're using a certain moderation, they can be pleasure inducing, shall we say. Whereas if you use too much, like bishop's weed, it's toxic. It's like wolfsbane. I'm growing wolfsbane in the garden. But all these other things, like I mean, like feverfew is very good for migraines. Fennel's very good for migraines and upset tummies. And it's just, I use a lot of them dried to make spell bottles. And so recipe wise, I'd say sort of, I mean, my favourite one is something that's very basic. So it's just looks like rosemary. Dried rosemary, witch's salt. I'm trying to think. I do like feverfew as well because that's got a good protective element of it. So yeah, I mean, I do sort of spell bottles for particular purposes. So I do one that's again got dried herbs. So it's got it for paranormal investigators. I call it the Ghostbusters Revenge because it's got a lot of protective herbs and
Nice.
crystals in it. And to help with nightmares as well, or if you feel that there's some form of not sleep paralysis, but you're getting encounters in your dreams and in your sleep where you're getting visitations at night, which that's proved very popular. We've actually supplied that to a couple of people that we've done house clearances for where they feel that their children are under threat or at risk, and touch wood, fingers crossed, it has worked really well. Yeah. So there's a lot of different recipes, and what I'll do, I can send you some links.
Yeah,
The
do
other
please.
dimension would just like to legally state that here we do not recommend any of these to be personally used. You use them at your own risk and for your own safety. We do, however, state that seek out medical advice before using such items.
Yes, I always put a disclaimer on the bottle as well, saying do not consume, please.
Right, it's brilliant when your aunt is a lawyer, so you know exactly what you have to say.
I love it.
Cover yourself and the guests.
I feel very protected.
Jacqueline went to Eam this year. It was interesting. Wild Bill, I practice Native American herbal medicines and potions. My grandmother was a sort of medicine woman.
That's brilliant.
We are going to get Wild Bill on at some point to discuss that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I got a bottle in my bag.
No, yes, yeah.
Russ asks, are you planning on writing a book?
Oh,
The fear.
do you know what? I would love to, but I wouldn't even know where to start. I'm happy enough sitting in my sort of spare room, come study, come workplace, just tinkering around on my laptop. But I mean, if someone knew how, or yeah, or where I go about it, I would genuinely love it. I've always enjoyed writing, but mine was more fiction than anything, or poetry. So I've really enjoyed going out onto
Yeah.
this side of it where it's more factual. Yeah. Yeah, no, I would if I got offered it. Absolutely.
Jacqueline from Paranormal Past is probably the best person to ask because she's currently writing one.
I know.
She's finished it.
I've actually worked with Jacqueline recently on she gave me she was fantastic actually, because she gave me the smallest pieces of information that she could, and I accepted the challenge. And it was one of those where it's like, do you know what? Even if it kills me, I'm finding out about this.
Nice.
And it took a lot of late nights and a lot of coffee. But I like to think that we're getting closer to cracking it now. So Jacqueline's been fabulous. She's really helped me with it. Yeah. Bang on, Jackie. Thank you.
Do you do worldwide history then, or do you just remain like?
Well, primarily I've only been asked to do sort of British history at the moment, but I will be more than happy to go further afield. It's as I said to you, like previously, I don't charge for this service, and at the moment I've got no plans in doing it. I do it because I enjoy learning. I do it because I enjoy hearing about people, finding out their stories, and helping other people remember them. So I would be happy to go further afield if needed, and I've certainly got a lot of resources which would help me there. Yeah.
I may have a challenge for you.
Okie doke, challenge accepted.
Don't accept before it's told you.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, right.
Joking. Zero says one for the nightmares would be good, please.
Okay, right. What I could do then, if we're able to get your details, I can ping across to you either the recipe, or I can send to you, if you're happy to give me your details, an actual bottle that's prepared and ready. Again, I don't charge for this service because it's about helping people. Yeah,
Thank you.
if people are in need, they deserve help, and if you're able and in a position to help them, I think you should do it 100%. Yeah,
that is one of the oldest.
Oh.
It's one of the oldest laws going, and there's very few of us that still follow that.
no, that is down to my grandmother. I was very lucky in that I was raised in a family where sort of spirituality as opposed to religion was encouraged. And I mean, my great granddad, he healed through herbs, but he didn't realize what he was doing. It was more a case of, well, what would be my great grandmother taught him that certain herbs helped with upset stomachs, certain herbs helped with headaches. And that was kind of handed down. And I was taught by my grandmother and grandfather that you just don't, it's not right to charge. I know people do, and, to cover ingredients or postage or things like that. And that's completely up to them. But for me, no, I don't charge. And I've got people who can vouch for that. They tell me what they need and I get it to them, basically.
That's why we here, well, me and Lou always abide by that. And I'm pretty sure other people that follow the other dimension are all on the same path.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We should all just be helping each other. It's not about money. It's about having good lives. Yeah.
And Patience says, I will support you with the book.
Thank you. She supports me already with coffee and cake.
And then Jacqueline, go for writing the book. I have software you can use. I'm using it. Nice.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie.
Ver says you can self-publish on Amazon.
Oh, right. I wasn't aware of that. I'll have to have a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's something interesting to know.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all.
Oh, hang on. I'm trying to catch up these. Well, Bill says I charge nothing for my knowledge. I do it to help.
Yep.
Brilliant.
I can
There
vouch
should be
for
more
that
people
as
like
well.
us.
Oh, hang on. Mandy did a bottle for my little boy for his night terrors, and it's been fantastic. Helped him so much.
Brilliant.
Oh.
No, it's for me, I've always suffered from nightmares ever since an early age, and it's put me in a lot of different situations with medication and sort of institutions and stuff. And at the time, I wasn't aware that I was actually getting rescues, as my grandmother called them, where you get spirits coming forth asking for help.
Yeah.
And I think that if that's something that's happening to anyone of any age, particularly young children, anything you can do to help is the way to go. And if it's a bottle of herbs, then so be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Zira says, wonderful, thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Hi, Bill, Karma.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get what you give.
You're a beautiful soul from Debs.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Should see me in the morning now.
Damon's popped on. Hi, Damon.
Hello.
Well, Bill, okay, Ben, that means you will pay for the postage for me to get Philip.
There's a bit difference when it's across the pond, man.
What's this about then?
Oh,
It was, oh, Philip, it was what he named one of the, you know how I make Baphomets?
Yes.
Yeah, it's what he named one of them.
Oh, yeah, they're fabulous though. Yeah, because Pay bought one of those when we were at Wilder Hope. Yeah.
There says, drop me a message if you want, and I'll help you look into it. That was for the Amazon self-publishing.
Yeah, fantastic. I will do. Yeah. Is this recorded? Can I go back and look at this?
Yeah,
'Cause I haven't
yeah,
got a
don't
notepad
worry.
and pen at the minute.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
it'll be on the
Yeah.
page forever.
Oh, good. Immortalised.
Gosh, we've got so many comments coming up. Can't believe it. The software I use helps with the self-publishing side on Amazon. It's in the correct format, but not got that far yet.
Okay, brilliant.
Nice.
Matt's on. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
And right, and then Dave's popped on as well. Last comment. Evening all.
There we
Wow.
go. We've got
I think we're about caught up now. So many comments, so many people joining us. It's really good.
I feel really lucky. Like I said, I really appreciate being given this opportunity and just to talk to people about how we can all help each other. And like I said, that's if it's herbs.
You just ask them.
Yeah, because it's a fascinating subject. I mean, we just chat a bit on topic, a little bit off topic. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We just keep it nice and relaxed.
Yeah, I was very nervous about coming on this because I tend to sort of not rant, but I'll go off on one and lose myself in a topic.
That's all good.
I do it all the time, so everyone knows.
Yeah.
That I want to.
Yeah.
No, it's nice to be in good company then. I've found my tribe of people.
Yeah. So what would you say has been your most challenging research project? And would that be the one that you're doing with Jacqueline then, that you mentioned earlier?
Yes, but I've also done something recently for Craig and Gemma at the museum.
Yeah.
They're our partnership. So
Sorry, what was that?
So we're in partnership with them.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's where I first saw you, Ben, and then obviously I met you, Lou, at Wilder Hope. But I remember like salivating over your book with all, and it was like, I can't leave a dribble on that page. I'm sure I can't. But no, they've got a new. Obviously, you know, they've got their new business and well, the new site rather. And they wanted me to find out about that. And initially, it felt like I was hitting my head up against a brick wall. It was, you know, when you've got the right lead because it kind of leads you nicely down a path. But this was dead end after dead end. It was, you would be looking at the censuses and you would be looking at the property numbers and they would be all over the place. You could make no sense of them. You couldn't figure out who was where and what. And then I found one small, tiny piece of information and it opened it all out. And it was, because I mean, I when I'm doing research, I will look at the building that's there, but then I always look at what was there before it. I will go back as far as I can. Yeah. And with their property, I know I can say this because Craig's put it on the website about how, is everyone familiar with ley lines? I'm guessing so. Yeah. And about sort of like how, where they're formed, and normally they're sort of not symptoms, but there's classic signs of where the ley lines are, and particularly with regards to there being sites of religious practice nearby and, you know, crisscrossing and this, that and the other. And it was when I found that I realised that basically they sit very close to one, if not at the top on one. And then it was little things that I noticed, not so much the location itself, the actual address. It was the fact that when I looked through war records, the archive that's there at Stoke in the museum, not the actual haunted museum, but you know, there was an inordinate amount of deaths from motorcycle accidents, a ridiculous amount. I literally just touched the very top of it. And then there was a lot of men who went away in the First and Second World War, all from that street, that never came back and never came home because they weren't they weren't brought back and buried amongst their kin. And there was just a lot of different things that made it seem as though there was an energy at work, not necessarily in people, but just something that was running through the place that made it more active or more conducive to having activity.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic, because I mean, I worked on that for a good 6 weeks, and it was like a final piece of the jigsaws were fitting and everything was making sense. And it was just, and it was a joy to give to them, because they're a brilliant couple, very successful, very ambitious, and it was nice to be able to contribute, albeit in a small way. So yeah, that was one of my favourites, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, got a couple of questions popped up with regards to ley lines. Jeanette asks, where do I find out if there's any ley lines where I am?
Right. There's a book that was written in the 1920s. He was fairly local to here. I want to say Watson or Watterson. I'll have to message you. But there's sort of different things that will indicate a ley line, in that, like I said, there's normally nearby sites of religious practice, whether they're current or ancient. You've got water springs, burial mounds, coppices. When we're working on a site that, as I mentioned to you, is Dowles. Now, I couldn't figure out why that was such a special place, but then when I looked at it, I know it's probably a really bad reference, but you know the Ghostbusters where the women are in it, it's the all-female one, and they're marking sites out. And I got that on a local map, and I was pinning it. I was going, right, so we've got an old burial mound here, we've got an ancient site there, we've got a church there and a church there. There's a source of water here. And I literally put the pins together, and it was like having a eureka moment. So the best bet is get a ordnance survey map or the equivalent of in your country if you're not from the UK, and then pin down your site that you're looking at, and have a look to see if there's any ancient sites, because they're normally marked on maps. Have a look at any sort of, like I said, churches or sites where there are religious practices. It doesn't have to be Christian churches. It's, as in the case of Jem and Craig's, there was Catholic, there was Greek Orthodox. There was a lot of different, it hasn't got to be classic British religion, as you call it. And just have a look where the activity is. If there's any little indicators, or if it's all, as in the case of Dowles, meeting completely in one area. Like I said, normally water source, religious sites, burial mounds, ancient sites. That's your way to go. But what I will do, if it's okay, I can't remember the exact, I think it's called Discovering the Old Ways. And as I said, it is quite an old book, and it has been debated a lot for its sort of like validity, but it's actually been carried on in the 1980s by a Stanford professor whose name escapes me. And he basically, it must have been one hell of a job, input into a system sites throughout the world that were classed as haunted or where there'd been phenomena. And then he obviously got all the computer working. I don't know what algorithms he applied to it. Basically, it was a case of that the majority of sites that were, you can't ever say proven, but shown to be, or had very good evidence to be haunted, were at the precipice of where ley lines were suspected to be, because of applying the old rules of, like I said, the religious sites, water, burial mounds, ancient sites, So what I would do, if I can do it on here, and I'll do it on my page, I'll just put some links to different websites I've referred to, texts. There's there's an awful lot to it. It's fantastic. I mean, I love that, the ley lines. I know, like I said, a lot of people go, but no, to me, it makes perfect sense. Everything is interconnected and joined 100%.
I will also dig out the map that I have of what's known as the Alpha Line that runs through the UK, and
brilliant.
Shows a link between the Scottish sites and the UK, the British, the Scottish sites and the English sites and the Welsh sites.
I think I've got similar. Again, it's a Royal Ordnance Survey map that I just noticed, and it's a map of ancient Britain, basically, and Scotland, and it's it's phenomenal. Especially when you find ones that are near to you as well, because you can go and visit them. And as with places like the Castle Ring at Cannock, the energy there is just phenomenal. You can't deny it. It's just.
Matt asks a question. Talking of ley lines, if I'm correct, there's positive and negative ones.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I very basic knowledge in that respect. So if Matt, you could help with that, I'd really love to learn about it. But mine is just identifying where the ley lines are, and then obviously applying the positive and the negative. So if you wanted to contact me and help me with that, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Ben, if you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. I'll get replaced.
What's verse says, I look into a town called Anstey, just outside of Coventry. Loads of odd history there.
Oh, what kind of odd history? Does anybody know? It's more like little old traditions, like in Beauty, they would carry their corpses, not in coffins, but in shrouds through the town and stop at every pub on the way to the church. I like little queer things like that. So if you've got that, I'll go there.
That's what we got. Russ says, your reports are amazing. Got so much out of them. Cannot wait for the Rising Sun one.
Yeah, the Rising Sun one, that's been a challenge because I'd been told various things about the site and I'm still researching it now. It's a bit of a labour of love, but I was finding things that I felt like I was going to blow the doors off it because I was finding things that didn't relate, but it turns out they do relate. But the site has just got so much going on with it. That's going to be fair, Russ, with all the work you're chucking at me with the other stuff, it's going to be a while before you see the Rising Sun, but we will get there.
What else we've got? Jeanette says, I'm in Nottinghamshire. There's always been churches around here and we have streams running underground.
Yeah, there you go.
Jacqueline says, sounds interesting. I don't think I'm on the ley line, but I live near a church and an original Saxon cross.
Yeah, there you go. So there's going to be a lot of energy channeling through that.
Damon says, want to look into a crazy place with ley lines, look into Osiers Island. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. I'm sure it's in Kent. Proper weird place because you have to travel through a causeway.
Ah, do you know what? This sounds like a bloody good idea for a road trip, doesn't it? We could all just meet each other at different locations.
Yeah.
Paranormal road trip.
I'd go for that, 100%.
Might be something to plan for next year, actually.
Yeah, there you go. We'll do it.
Barbara has got busy stew, peace and light. See you
Hello,
later,
Lovely
Bill.
to meet you, Wild Bill. Brilliant, fantastic, thank you.
And Jeanette says thank you. And oh, hang on. Love to see you do some old murder mystery ones. Who put Bella in the witch elm?
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's a big one. You saying that, Russ, I have actually looked into something that's local to me because when I was young, I don't know if anyone knows Kidderminster, there's a site called Barnett's Lane. And the dare was you had to walk down it at night because my nan would say to me, if you walk down there at night, you will be faced with a woman running towards you with her throat cut and she's screaming. And I thought it was just like a bit of an old wives' tale, or she'd tell it me to entertain me rather than scare me. But when I was doing research for Kidderminster Town Hall, I looked at crimes and cases that have been heard there in the court, and one of them was an account that was actually referred to as the Kidderminster Ripper. So it was so similar they'd referred it to Jack the Ripper, and that there was a woman who was I think she'd come from Stourbridge, and she was basically travelling daily to come and pick fruit and the like from a farm that was on the basis of that area. It's now a golf course. And she was attacked. She was killed, and the manner of death was a slashing of the throat. And it was heard at the Kidderminster Court. They did eventually catch the man, but it was so weird reading through it and all the different accounts and things. And it was like, my God, my nan was telling me the truth. It was fantastic. It was a real, yeah. So when you can dig and find situations that are actually you believe are folklore or little tales to keep kids quiet, and you realise they are based in religious factors, it's amazing. So yeah, I will happily look into places like that and cases 100%. I can't promise to solve the Jack the Ripper crime, but you know, I'll give it a bloody good go.
Damon's put up Osiers Island has had 3 cults discovered there.
Oh right, okay.
Ooh,
Oh, that's definitely a road trip place, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's making me think a bit of Midsummer, you know that film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny enough, verse put up loads of deaths, like Midsummer Murders. Everyone in the village has died 3 times.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What else we got? Matt said, "I'd happily do that. Me and Ben have been on a battlefield and seen something we can't explain."
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to do something like that. Being in Worcestershire, we've got quite a few sort of sites on the way into Worcester that were involved in the Civil War. There's a valley that's just up by me, and apparently, you know, things happen there, and it's just, I don't know, digging through the layers of the energy of the history there, and yeah, in extreme situations like death and dying and not being prepared for death and the agony of not being able to revisit your loved ones and just not being buried, if nothing else. You know, people more often that were left there, weren't they? And that's
Yeah.
got to help with that. That's got to leave a stain on the earth, as far as I'm concerned, on the soil. And I think, given the right situations and the right people and the energies, it can be triggered. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be a fantastic thing to do.
Patience seems very excited.
We
Road
do love a
trip.
good road
He's
trip.
shouting
Yeah,
it.
I always make a drive though.
One little random fact that a lot of people didn't realise is they used to actually be, and they're very, very lightly documented, and I'd be impressed if you can find some of these. But they are very fine documents you have to find, of priests that used to wander the countryside, that when battles had happened and the bodies were all left there,
Yeah.
that they used to bless the land so it became holy land, in a sense, the same as like a graveyard.
Oh, right. So it was almost like mobile consecration, almost,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
That is
basically.
phenomenal. No, I wasn't aware of that. So
I
was
found
that
a
in
small
a
piece when I was at Cambridge studying. I found a small little note in the back of a book about it, and then went to find it. Found one reference about it in I think it was a 15th century manuscript.
okay. So I mean, you'd wonder why, you know, with all the families that didn't know what happened to their
Yeah.
brothers and fathers and sons, people should be, well, it's probably just a case of people weren't able to record it, were they? Like reading and writing wasn't a basic, was it, back then? That's just a phenomenal thing that people should know, that, you know, that these restless souls did have an opportunity for peace. And yeah, I wouldn't have known that at all. That's fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for that. I'll have a
Right.
dig. Is that the challenge?
It's just little random bits that I remember
Yeah.
from studying.
No, like me. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot that bit. Yeah.
We've got Vera put a comment on, "Hell yeah for the road trip. Make sure to stop by Rugeley. Loads of haunted places, including the supposed grave of Poison Palmer."
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm up for that. Shall I have a dig about him then, or her? You never know. Can't assume it's a bloke. I'm up for that.
What we've got, Damon says, "I'm happy to do a road trip, to do the Dimension road trip."
Yeah,
we're all doing the road trip everywhere now together.
I've got visions of a big
As long as it's after
convoy.
August.
Yeah, I'll do that. 100% after August, whenever you want, mate.
We've got Jacqueline, "I'm going to a battlefield in Scotland soon. It's only recently I've started reading about it."
Yeah, okay. Actually, that's
interesting.
something that I'd like to ask. How many people here do research before they go to a site, or they like to go in blind?
That was one of my questions I was going to ask you. When you
Okay.
go on investigation, do you research before or after?
I used to do it after, now I do it before. But as people I was with last night at the Four Crosses, when I got a little bit bossy, I won't tell people. As I was walking around with Pay and we were setting up, she was saying, "Oh, I'm sensing this, I'm getting that. Is that name right?" I just kept saying to her, "I'm not telling you yet, because I want people to give me the information. I want them to tell me."
Yeah.
And then I can either put on my teacher hat and go, "Yes, you're correct. Well done." So no, I do it before, but that's simply for me, because I would love to be one of these sensitives that picks up on the spirits. I mean, I'm a little bit sensitive, but nowhere near as good as the people we were with last night. So for me, that's how I feel important. I do research about the place. I can't,
Yeah.
bring forth spirits or communicate with them as well as others. So yeah, that's
No,
what
but
I
it's
do.
good. I imagine you just standing there doing an excited little like yee when they get it right, when people are
Yeah,
like getting things through spirits. It's like, yeah, that matches up to what I've researched. Yeah.
yeah. You have to delay giving them the high five until the end of the event, and then you're like running
Oh,
away, going, "You did great, you did great."
yeah. No, for us, if it's like a proper case that we're going into, we've been
Yeah,
called into, then we tend to
Yeah, I'll do a deep
we'll
dive
do
on
the
that.
research
yeah, that
beforehand.
makes sense. Yeah,
But if it's just for, going out for a bit of a laugh, have a bit of fun, go to a new location, like, yeah, not official kind of thing, then yeah, we'll have
yeah,
a look at the information afterwards.
yeah. Because I remember when I was listening to the demonology talk at Wilderhope, and Ben was talking. Well, you were both talking about the case of the mirror,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the lady. Yeah, and I mean for that you would have to have done research simply to ensure that you're protected and to know what you're dealing with. That
Yeah.
would be an absolute. Well, it was 100% needed, wasn't it? If I remember the case right. So yeah, that makes sense.
It's handy when you have a little bit of a team as well that you can call on to do it while you're at work as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. It is all about team and support, and I mean that's what I find. Because I mean, obviously, like I said, with PMV, I've got Pay, that's sort of like always on call, and Vicky, she's helped me an awful lot as well, and like me, she's a history buff. But I mean, I've got to say the biggest sort of thank you here would be to the likes of Russ and Wednesday Paranormal, because I offered to do some research for them simply because I was curious, and then they ran with it, and they've really opened a lot of doors for me. So I'm really grateful to Russ and the lads for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, got a question from Russ. Speaking of controversial question now. With the UK's current stance on destroying our heritage and shaming our historical figures, are you finding it harder to find information during your research?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll go back to Bewdley on this. I mean, I do love the Bewdley site, but you cannot ignore the fact that there is a history of slave trade there, and apparently there are certain items in archive which support this as well. And it's one of those, when I mention it on the Ghost Walk, because you do have to refer to it because it's a history.
Yeah.
It is part of our journey, and it's part of the journey of learning what was happening was wrong as well. But yeah, you do have to be very careful with it, because it's a very emotive topic, but unfortunately it is part of the past, and it did happen, and hopefully we've learned from it, and that's why it's not happening now. So yeah, definitely makes things a lot harder. 100%.
Yeah.
People are loath to talk about it or acknowledge it. It's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that when they went to Bristol earlier on in the summer, because obviously they've got a big slave history to them.
Yeah.
And we went on the ghost walk there, and obviously Lily's like, well, I need to talk about it because it's what happened, it's history, it's fact,
Yeah.
it's what's caused, the place to be there now as it is, because it's all been built from that and built upon it, even though we've now moved past it. But you can't just ignore things because you disagree with them.
No, exactly. History happened for a reason. Like I said, you learn from it, you gain knowledge from it. You can't whitewash it. We can't rewrite history because you can't go into the past and change things as much as you might like to. It does need to be acknowledged. Like I said, just to understand what the other people went through, the people on the other end of the stick, the victims, you know what I mean? You can't deny their suffering or their pain or their experiences, or that the silver lining and the great things that they've done in spite of it, not because of it.
Yeah.
Be the same with like ignoring the fact of like Auschwitz happened and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you
need,
can't.
the reason we remember it is because we don't want it to happen again.
Yeah, 100%. And as I like to go back to the second death thing, in that if you stop talking about it, you stop remembering the people that experienced it and endured it, and their voices need to be heard, and we need to learn from them. 100%.
And we've got comments about how do people like to go into investigations. Darren says blind.
Yeah.
We've got Jeanette, she likes to go in blind as well.
Brilliant.
Jacqueline, I go in blind, but I can't investigate at the battlefield due to the nature of it, and emotion attached even now.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mary
if you
says,
go in blind, do you like being told that you're right or if you're wrong? What happens if you find something in history or what's recorded on history suggests that you might be wrong or slightly incorrect?
That is an interesting question to actually ask.
Mind you, that I mean, I remember when I, like I said, going back to my theology degree, and we were sort of ripping apart different with regards to like Egyptology, and you know, the history is the history of winners. So really, they're only the only stuff that is really recorded is the positive stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know whether you can actually say people are right or wrong, because not every tiny minuscule detail has been recorded.
yeah,
So
that was the problem I found as well with theology. You have to walk the line that's laid out already.
yeah,
It's only when you sort of look into the historical side of like China, where they recorded every single little detail,
yeah,
that you could understand. But yeah, some of it was bloody long-winded, wasn't it?
yeah, exactly, yeah, and open for manipulation as well. Because I mean, if you go off topic, but like with Egyptology, and like Hatshepsut, for a long time she was denied, wasn't she? You know, taken off all records that were available, and everything was reused and recycled. But to all intents and purposes, she wouldn't have existed in the known history. It was only because someone found a very small clue and dug a bit deeper. You know,
it's the same with sorry, I know we're going off topic, sorry guys. It's the same with Tutankhamun's father.
Yeah,
He was
100%.
I think it was Amon, might have been Amon-Ra. My brain's a bit scatty at the minute. But it was just wiped out from existence. He wiped out the pantheon of gods first when he came about.
Akhenaten,
That's the one.
Yeah, or
Akhenaten.
He's got that other name that I can't pronounce, Amenephis or something. Yeah.
He wiped out the whole pantheon to one god, and then as soon as he disappeared, they replaced it all and tried to wipe out every little bit of his existence.
Absolutely, yeah. And what was left, a few jigsaw pieces of a wall relief, and things like that. And it's just, I think really, it's the job for us as not just historians, but paranormal investigators and just the curious to dig deeper and to ask questions and to. Yeah, I think I've contradicted some of that, because there's me saying, oh, what if I come to you and tell you that you've got it slightly wrong? But I can't judge that you've got it slightly wrong, because I'm only going by what's written down.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think people within this kind of sort of community, the paranormal investigators, the historians, the curious, dig deeper and don't be afraid to be wrong, because there's every chance you're not. It's just it's not been written down yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go to. This says, poison Palmer was the reason we have the phrase of "what's your poison?"
Oh, I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but I love that kind of stuff. How darker histories have been adapted into our sort of like turns of phrase and things like that.
Neil puts Rugeley is on the verge of Cannock Chase, and we all know the history and folklore surrounding that place.
Yes.
Yeah, we love. I love Cannock Chase, and we all know why.
Because go on. So.
No, I mean, when we went in, I want to say late Feb, early March, and I went for the werewolf because I've got a little bit of a fixation with werewolves, and not thinking for 1 minute we'd see one, and it was a fantastic night, absolutely brilliant night. And that's what introduced us to Wednesbury. But yeah, I mean, I've got to thank Den for getting that werewolf growl. It made my evening, really. But no, Cannock Chase is amazing. It's got pretty much everything, hasn't it? So
yeah.
We went there with Wednesbury, and we had a bit of an interesting night. I think they weren't expecting. In fact, I'm pretty sure Russ will agree with me. He wasn't expecting what actually happened to happen.
Is this to do with the woods?
We did Cannock's. We did the circle, didn't we?
Castle Ring.
And then we went down to the Witches' Woods at the back.
Yeah. Yes, we got told about that, actually. You were the demonologist that we weren't aware of at the time. And he's like, no, that is some weird shit energy down there. Really. We had pie heaving in the bushes. because they'd set a vibration and it was making a heave. Yeah, that was a good night.
Oh God. Patient saying, how many did I get right with your research from the 4 crosses?
I'm not telling you.
Oh,
You've got to buy me cake and then I will reveal.
Okay.
the bigger the cake, the more the reward.
Yeah.
She knows the drill. Yeah.
Oh, we've got another comment here. I want you to help me solve the murder mystery of the lady by the soldier in Licky End in the 40s that we spoke about the other day. Also, there is a legend of the devil riding over the hills on a bull, I believe, which must have some sort of basis in history. Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I work with Vicky and she's my mate, and we were discussing this because she's got another tale as well, which there is historical facts because there's newspaper cuttings about it, which she'll recall, where a mother, I don't know whether it's Licky End Woods, but it's the woods by her, where a mother basically took a child and killed it by smashing its head up against a tree trunk.
Oh, nice.
And no one knows why she did that. So again, there's a lot of dark stuff in that neck of the woods. I mean, I think the Black Country in Birmingham's pretty rife for a lot. It's an amazing location, all of it. Yeah, so I will happily dig into that as well. But she needs to help me with the garrison. Okay, Vic.
Zira says a good research is the Jersey War history and underground hospital / mines. They're still finding war tunnels over there now.
Yeah, to be fair, we're possibly talking about going to Jersey next year. Yeah, so that might be a good place to look at.
Yeah. Also, a lot of the tunnels collapsed and the bodies were never moved. A lot of energy on that island.
Okay, that
There you
makes
go,
it
bit more
even
for
more
you.
interesting. Yeah, because I mean that was one of the things that I was gutted I never got to Smethwick Bath tour, because they've still got the play graves there, haven't they? Or they did have. Whether they're still there, I don't know. But which was something. Sorry, the cat charge to intervene. No, I know it's, you ideally want everyone to have a resting place where, you know, they're consecrated best, or whatever, you know, their religious choosing asks for. But it is always really, really interesting when you know that there's still bodies on site. Yeah. That would make a good one.
To put you at peace, Medic Baths was put to peace on the final night.
It was good.
Yeah,
good.
We made sure of it. We shut it down, and everyone was sent where they needed to be sent.
That's fantastic. No, because I think really that is something else that we should be responsible for. Because I mean, for me, I do the research, particularly if I emphasise on Bewley, because that's the one I'm most familiar with. But even though it's probably going to put me out of a job, my idea is that I want everyone's stories known, so hopefully they can find peace, you know, and move on to where they need to be. But like I said, yes, it will mean that I don't have a job anymore, but it'll be worth it to know that you've helped someone move, and for whatever reason they're hanging around, you know, you've helped them solve that piece of the puzzle. Yeah.
Sort of like mission accomplished kind of thing.
What was that?
Sort of like mission accomplished kind of thing.
Yeah. Because you know, it's just people. Like I said, people are loitering and hanging around and not peace for a reason, and it's never going to be a good one, is it? Put it that way. So I do think that if we get to learn more stories and experiences and solve puzzles and stories that don't have an ending, that maybe there would be less paranormal activity. I don't know. It's just what I think. I might be wrong.
Jacqueline says you are brilliant at what you do, and you gave me loads of information, which ties on.
No, I just appreciate people asking me. Like I said, more the merrier. Bit of a waiting list now, I'll give you that. So if anyone does want to contact me, just make sure you don't need the information straight away, because Russ has got me really busy, and Jackie, and Justin as well. UK Paranormal.
Craig's popped on. Hi everyone. The Museum Spirit Shop and Museum of Horrors. Mandy West has done some amazing work for us. Hope you guys are well.
Go check out the work.
I love Craig and Jem. Brilliant.
Oh my God.
Oh, Marshall's here. Hi, Jim.
I need to know every scrap of history I can find.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want a hunger for it. Yeah, you should know your history. You should know about your past. So you're a person after my own heart, 100%.
Jim is terribly hungry for every bit of information. He grills me constantly when we go meet.
There is nothing better than an inquiring mind, I say. You know, you can never learn too much. You can never know too much. I no, we need more people like that. 100%. Well done.
Ross, this is so cool listening to educational stuff, not a REM teddy inside.
Yeah.
Or a cat ball. No cat balls.
Or a cat ball.
There's always a time and a place.
Yeah.
It says Palmer's last victim was autopsied on the bar of the Shrew in Rugeley.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we look at pubs now and see them as places of sort of like drunkenness and revelry and enjoyment and places we can go to after COVID. But, you know, like at the Four Crosses last night, you know, that's heard court cases. It's held people who were due to go for sentencing to jail or hangings. And like with Nottingham as well, going to the older pubs, you're not going to just sit there and enjoy yourself. There's normally quite a gruesome and dark history related to it. So, yeah, they were used for many things. Like you said, coroner's courts, autopsies, storing bodies in the cellar. Yeah, go to a good
So
old
much stuff you never even
pub, you're
realise or
guaranteed
think
to have a
about
good
now.
time.
Yeah.
No, this is what I like about Bewley. And when I do the ghost walks, I try and sort of, I don't want people just to walk down the street and go, oh yeah, I'm going to go and get an ice cream at Teddy Gray's, and then I'm going to go to Sainsbury's, and then I'm going to go home. I want them to think, actually, along here, like I said, they carried a body to a grave, and they stopped at every pub that they could find. There were people that were flogged up this end. That was where they put the witches. You know, this is where the ducking stall is. I want people to just look past the modern, and try and walk in steps of the past.
Yeah, that's like one thing I like to do when I'm in town centres. You go walking along the street, like the high street, and you've got all like, you know, the new shops. Most of them half boarded up now, to be fair, but all the shops, and then you look up, and because they've not changed the buildings from the like second floor, well, first floors up, really, have they? They kind of remain the same. And then you can kind of see what the actual buildings used to look like, and they look so much nicer back then than they do with like the modern shop.
Absolutely. I think as well. I mean, like I said, I live in Kidderminster, and it's not got a very good reputation. Obviously, it was known for a carpet town and this, that, and the other. But I think if more people were aware of the history of their place, I mean, like Kidderminster's had some amazing things happening in it, some not so amazing things happening, but it's got a history. And I do think that if people were more aware of their past in where they are, they might understand things and respect things a bit better, and not just think, oh, look, there's a paint shop that's boarded up. You can think, yeah, but what was there before the paint shop? You know?
Yeah. Oh, Verse says, if you ever do Castle Ring again, let me and Raz know. We'll come along. There we go. We've got a group
I
of us
have
now.
been dying to go back to Cannock, but Russ and Neil and Dan and Paz, no, it's not been happening, and I'm really disappointed. We need to organise it ourselves, I think.
Come on, Russ, if I can bribe you with a few things, you'll organise a Cannock Chase one for me, please, buddy, around the circle.
Yeah. We'll have a picnic. I'll bring cake. It's all about cake.
It's all about cake.
Wow,
we've got so many comments. So, because we're coming up to like 2 minutes towards the end of the show now, we've got more comments.
Oh my God, it's flown by.
Yeah, we've got more comments that can even like fit into it, and I've got more questions that I could even say. So we're going to have you back on.
Yes,
it would be a pleasure.
If you want to, like, oh my gosh, massive ones just popped up as well. But if you want to, obviously rewatch it at your own time and have a look at any other comments that people have put on as well.
Yeah, 100%. And
but yeah, do you want
all
to just plug yourself on the page?
Yeah. Well, the page is The Haunted Historian. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, and I'm LinkedIn. Email address is askthehauntedhistorian@gmail.com, or again, use Messenger on Facebook. Like I said, I am taking on new commissions, so if you've got anything you want me to look at, but please be patient with me. And also, if there's anyone that I've promised information to, or products to, or spell bottles, could you possibly find me on Facebook and message me? Or failing that, I will at some point go through this and find you, and I will reach out to you. Okay.
So we've got so many comments. People have really loved the show tonight. We loved it.
Yeah, we're going to get you back on.
Yeah,
if that's okay
definitely.
With you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Good.
Yeah. I love it. I feel very honoured to be on here. So thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us.
Lovely to have you. Absolutely lovely to have you.
No, it's been a really good laugh. Actually, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got coming up now. We've got a great chat. Sorry, guys, I've skipped through loads of comments to get to the end.
Yeah.
Jeanette says, "Thanks, fab chat. Look forward to the next one, definitely." Vicky says, "Well done, man. Amazing, proud of you." Yeah. Thanks for your help. Great show tonight. Thank you. And Matt wants cake.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, high five.
Yeah, guys, that's been us for the week. Been brilliant having you on.
I've really
Definitely get you on
enjoyed it.
again at some point.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to have? Last words?
No, it's been good. We need
No?
to get the fan on though, because
Yeah.
I'm roasting again.
Mandy,
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
you'd like?
Get the fans on,
Get the
have
fans
some
on.
cake, and we'll
Yeah.
start plotting the route for the road trip. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, like I said, I just really want to thank everyone for getting involved and getting on board and not thinking I'm weird and ranting on about things.
They're
Yeah,
used
it's
to that
nice
with me on here.
Yeah, it's nice to be with my tribe. I love you all. Thank you.
So, guys, that's it from us this week, and we shall see you in the week. Don't forget, I will be dropping a small video at some point to discuss my new series that is starting. Or depends on when I do it. But that's it, guys. Enjoy your time. Thank you very much.